What is up, my OKCs? Haha. See anything different? Huh? See anything different? Neither do I. What's up, my OKCs, and welcome back to another Twitch stream. I keep calling them videos, but technically I should be calling them streams because it's the proper way of describing it. And obviously today, in this video, we will be watching short horror animations. And if you don't know what I'm doing at the moment, I'm literally just getting my thingy majiggy sorted because I am still wondering how to get my bubbles on my the Twitch chat on my phone. But aside from that, guys, of course we are going to be watching short horror animations. Now, obviously, we all know about horror. Some of us hate it, some of us love it. It's a love-hate relationship with horror. Me, I absolutely love horror, and people that know me would know that. But let's just dive into it. Let's dive into it like a dolphin goes in the sea. You know what I mean? Let's just dive straight bloody into it, alright? So, of course, we're going to be starting off with some horror short animation stories. We might switch it up a bit. We might give it a switch up, but at the moment, we're going to go for one of these. So we're not going to go for this, because this looks a little bit weird, especially with a girl with a bikini on. And then 8 true horror stories animated compilation, and the True Stranger Horror story animation, with a creepy looking guy at the front. It's dragging me into it.
Did you know this video was edited with Filmora? Introducing Filmora 10.
Okay, stop it. No.
I was sitting in my
Okay, so a
living room
minute of
watching
the
YouTube
video
on my TV.
was adverts.
I was currently watching
Not a
a
good
horror
start.
story YouTube channel we all know very well.
We all do know them very well.
All of a sudden, my TV cut off for no reason. When I looked
Electricity's gone
around,
out.
I realized that the whole electricity went out in general. Damn
Damn
it! I said out loud,
Classic
wondering
winter.
what's going on.
I'm assuming it's winter.
Let me pause the story by saying that I live in an extremely rural area. Our neighbors are so far away that you can go outside and do basically anything without getting caught. I needed to pee, so I thought I would step outside and check our electricity and use the bathroom in the backyard while I was there. However, I couldn't make it to the backyard before encountering a weird guy I'd never seen before.
Hey, is your power out too?
He said.
Ooh.
I looked at him and replied with a yes as he grinned and said that his had been out for a while.
Okay.
To be honest, this was really weird as I know pretty much everyone around here and I never met him on any other occasion.
Yeah.
I told him I was going to the store across the bridge from my house to get some snacks.
Oh god, a risky looking
He
bridge
then
as well.
said,
Hey, save your money. I've got plenty of snacks.
Ooh!
since I didn't have a job at the time, I was extremely tight on money.
Snacks.
I asked him what all he
fuck does
had
he
and he
mean by
said he had
snacks?
some meat-based snacks.
Meat-based snacks?
I usually don't take stuff from strangers, but I doubt I would have even had enough money to get a 50-cent can of sausages at that
He's
time.
gonna bloody turn him into a sausage. Forget about you having sausages. He's gonna turn you into a sausage.
I certainly didn't have a full dollar at that point. Thinking that it's probably some kind of beef jerky, I accepted and asked him where he lived. He said that he lived on top of the hill across the road from my house.
Of course he did.
Follow me. We can hang out for a while.
I don't know why I did this. But this
This has got nothing to do with the electricity. I think we're just diving into a whole new level of
may
weird.
very well be the most stupid decision I've ever made.
Of course you went with him.
I thought
Because
it
you
was
don't
a
have a
little
brain.
strange as I knew there were no houses on that hill, but I didn't really care. I thought maybe he was just horrible at directions.
No, I think
When we
he's...
got to the top of the hill,
Oh!
I saw a small shelter made of nothing
Campsite.
but sticks, and the whole area smelled like rotten meat.
Oh.
I instantly felt sick to my stomach. The guy pulled out a plastic freezer bag from his
no.
old dirty
He's gonna
backpack
pull
and
out his
said it was
machete
already
Betty Wetty.
steamed so I could eat it straight from the pack. I thought I would know what kind of meat it was if I smelled it. I opened up the pack
This has got
and
nothing
was
to do
hit
with
by that
electricity.
scent of rotten meat again. It was at least 20 times stronger than before. I threw up right there on the ground and dropped the backpack. Ugh,
Oh,
what the hell is that? I asked him, trying not to vomit again.
okay.
It's a special type of meat some
Ooh.
people would kill for.
It was his response, and the red flags were raised in my mind just then. No, no, no,
No.
I said with tears in my eyes.
Oh, but yes.
Oh my
He said.
bloody
He
God,
began
this guy
laughing
is nuts.
maniacally. I immediately grabbed the package and ran into a dark place in the
Just
woods
grab
on the
the
hillside,
package.
knowing he wouldn't be able to find me. I then called 911 and gave them my location. They said they would be there soon. Within minutes, a few cops arrived near my house. I sprinted towards them and showed them the package, explaining what just happened. One of the cops vomited as he looked at the package. At first, I didn't understand why, until I looked
Oh,
at it in the
no.
light, where I could finally see what was
humans.
causing that horrible smell.
It's like human feces or
It
something.
was the
or it's a
skinless
head.
meat of someone's face.
Okay.
They took the package for examination and said they would let me know what they found out.
Why can't you
It's
go
been
to the
3
top of the
weeks
hill and
now,
capture that man?
and they haven't gotten in touch with me. I hope they find out whose face that was and catch that sick cannibalistic bastard. But most of all, I hope I never see that man ever
Oh.
again.
I hope you never have to go and fix your electricity again. Oh my God, that was very well animated by Wanzi Entertainment. Go and check them out. That is ooh, spooky to say the least. What the flip? Okay, we're not watching anything that has gruesome things on it. That I see. Twitch, don't get annoyed with me because I thought that one looked harmless, and then they hit me with the bad stuff. And I don't want one with bad stuff in there. So we're gonna avoid this. We're gonna avoid this. We're gonna avoid anything like this or no, actually no, that could. What do you guys think? Let me know, guys. What do you think I should watch? True Scarecrows horror story. Oh, okay.
Meet
not a-
Editor
I'm
X,
not a big fan of Scarecrows.
the
I'm not gonna
world's
lie,
most
this.
advanced website design platform.
Okay, I think we've all had this fear of scarecrows at some point when we were little. We thought they were gonna
Not long
move.
ago,
We
I
thought they
went
were
to
gonna do
see my
something.
older cousin.
But you know where we got that
He
from?
lived in a remote
Wizard of
rural
Oz.
village.
That's where the
I was a
bloody moving
teenager without
scarecrow
a
started.
driver's license, so I took the bus.
Okay. Most people do.
However, I accidentally ended up taking the wrong bus.
Oh.
This bus was going to another town.
Oh.
Inevitably,
I've done that
I
before.
got off in the middle of the road. It was a 40-minute walk from there to
Oh,
my brother's
Jesus.
house. Also, the area was so remote that there were very few buses around there.
God, I think that
I
grass
ended
as
up
well.
just deciding to walk.
Grass?
There were
what do you call
only
it?
fields around and not a single person was seen passing by.
Oh.
Just then, I saw some scarecrows standing in the field, which was very unusual. They all looked like real people. I looked at one of the scarecrows.
Probably because they
They
are
must have set up some mannequins.
real people.
I thought. Curious, I came a little closer, and they were even more shocking up close. The mannequins seemed
Thing is, alright, that's creepy. Thing is, alright, about these mannequins and stuff, scarecrows and stuff. Why would they do this? This has obviously got to be made up. Because there would not be scarecrows standing in the middle of the field just expecting someone to walk by. You know what I mean? They'd have to be waiting there for literally weeks for someone to walk by.
much more real than I had thought.
Jesus,
The
that is
skin looked real. It felt like a real person was
because
standing
it
here.
is a real person.
I got goosebumps all over me. I looked at them vacantly, thinking, what are these for? The scarecrows all stood in the same position. They were standing in a strange position with their body tilted at an angle. It was such a strange and creepy sight. Just then, one of the scarecrow's eyes suddenly moved and stared at me. I was so surprised that I fell back. The scarecrow moved towards me as soon as I thought I had misdeemed it. I screamed and started running like crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Ah!
He's
Just
gonna
then, a
bloody
scarecrow,
die.
or a man dressed as a scarecrow, rushed towards me with a sickle in his hand. He ran after
Oh.
me, making some weird sound. I shouted as I...
That's the one thing I love about these horror films. When the people try and reenact what they've heard, it's the funniest thing.
Fled
It sounds
desperately.
nothing like what it is.
What the hell is wrong with you?
Oh,
The scarecrow
gosh.
kept chasing me
Oh.
and making that weird sound. It sounded like a language I couldn't understand.
That is.
As I glanced back, the scarecrow swung a sickle at me.
Oh my gosh.
My legs gave way with fear. Thinking that I'd be ripped apart and killed
If
if I
this
was
was
caught
real,
by
I
him,
would-
I ran away.
I would literally.
Fortunately, I soon managed to get out of the field.
I would literally like.
When I looked back, I couldn't see the
myself.
scarecrow anymore. I didn't understand why he was standing there
Ooh.
for so long, pretending to be a scarecrow. One more thing I remember was that when I glanced at his face as I ran away from him, he was laughing.
Oh. Alright,
It
that's.
seemed as if he was truly enjoying it.
Of
At
course he was
first,
enjoying
I
it.
thought it was just someone's nasty joke, but I could tell it wasn't when he swung his sickle at me. He was literally trying to kill me. I almost lost my neck. When I got
Oh.
out of there, I immediately called the police. Shortly after, when the police arrived at the scene, they found no scarecrows at all.
Really
However,
weird.
they did find evidence of murder, such as unknown bloodstains and flesh in the field. They're
Oh.
continuing to search the field. What was the scarecrow that was running after me and the rest of the scarecrows doing there? I still have terrible thoughts about it to this day. Were the rest of the scarecrows the bodies of the people he killed? If I didn't get out of
Imagine.
there, would I have become one of those scarecrows?
Oh, look at that.
Or were the scarecrows other murderers in disguise?
Oh. Wanzi Entertainment. That is scary,
This game,
to say the least.
you're not ready for it.
That was kind of like spine tingling as well if you think about it. Like you would never get this only in America. I always say it's only in America.
There are
you'd-
two types of
you'd
people who
find
work at
stupid things like this
McDonald's,
happen.
or fast food places in general. There are ambitious, intelligent people who are trying to work
Okay.
hard to achieve a
Yeah, of
goal,
course,
in the
you
hopes
know,
that one day they'll be able to
success.
quit for the sake of something better.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
of
there are
course.
the losers,
Oh.
those with no ambition who have given up and
Yeah.
have no desire to achieve anything other than a
Mhm.
weekly paycheck.
The ones that are gonna get nowhere in life. As I say, hard work gets you where you
I
need
like to
go.
consider myself in
That's
the
not what they
first
say, but,
category,
yeah.
as I was working hard to afford my apartment while taking classes at the local community college. I normally work the later shifts at the drive-thru window, which is the one spot most employees hated working the most.
Mm.
You constantly have to deal with extremely impatient, oftentimes very rude people who are on their phones or have music blaring, and oftentimes don't realize that I wasn't the individual who took their order, so it's not my fault if it's wrong. In addition to that, you're pretty much constantly on your feet and exposed to the elements. No matter how cold, windy, or rainy it is, you have to keep leaning out into it, wishing that you were in a warm car about to drive away from this place. My point being is please try to be more kind and patient with the drive-thru people. Yeah, some are lazy, but most are trying their best, and even though you only see them for about half a minute, a kind remark or a warm smile might make their day. Anyways, now that I've gotten that off my chest, I work the late shift with two people who I believe qualify for the second category of employees. Connie was a high school dropout who was almost always late and was never invested in what she was doing, and Harold was a deadbeat who often smelled like weed and only kept the job because otherwise his parents would throw him out of the house.
Mm.
He was 32 years old. So one night I was there after 11 p.m. by the drive-thru window on an extremely cold January night, flipping through the pages of my class notes and trying to keep warm by the fry machine. Connie was mopping while looking at her phone, and Harold was in the back probably getting baked in the walk-in cooler.
Ooh.
That late at night, we rarely got
Freaking
customers,
snooze.
and if we did, they were almost always zonked-out college kids who used the drive-thru but never physically walked into the restaurant. I stood up and stretched my legs and told Connie that I was heading to the bathroom. It was around 11:30 at this point. I came back less than 5 minutes later, with Connie more or less in the same spot that she was before.
Mm-hmm.
I walked past her and turned the corner to return to the window, and froze dead on my tracks.
Oh.
There was a bald man in white face makeup and a black hoodie standing directly outside the window staring in.
What the
His
bloody
eyes
hell?
were wide, with a blank expression that read, "What kind of trouble can I create?" The figure made direct eye contact with me and smirked, and slammed his palm against the window. I had no idea what to do, and
Okay. No, thank you. Yeah, no thanks. I'm good. Holy hell. Alright, well, that was something else. What the hell? That is like, I've got a window behind me, alright? So it's not like, oh, just go away, window. Oh, honestly. Oh my gosh. Jesus Christ, I hate window horror stories. Anyway, doesn't matter. We'll continue.
inside my head, the words, "Clown,
And yeah, sorry, I think there's an advert going on, so I'll wait until it's ended first, and then we'll continue. Yeah, honestly, clown mime. Or okay.
mime, psychopath, danger, and death all exploded like fireworks.
Oh, okay.
The window was already shut and locked to protect myself from the cold, but the doors were all unlocked, and this
Ooh.
person could easily walk right in and grab
Oh!
any one of us if he wanted to.
That's
In
stick
my head, I
figure.
kept referring to it as he, but honestly, I had no idea what the gender
I was
was.
gonna say.
The outfit and makeup made the stranger look androgynous,
Open.
drawing out the word like a snake. Now, even if the figure wasn't dressed like that, I was under no
Bloody leave me
obligation
alone.
to open the window. It's
Yeah.
unlawful to serve walk-ups at the drive-through window, certainly
Exactly.
for their safety, but also for ours. I shook my head and backed away.
No.
I called over my shoulder, "Lock the doors." The whole time, this figure didn't break eye contact with me, and to the best of my memory,
I like that.
I don't even remember it
like
blinking.
that one bloody
It drew
flick.
back its lips in a sinister smile, and I shit you
Oh!
not, its gums were black. I don't mean I was too far away that I couldn't see clearly. I mean its gums were as black as licorice.
Open.
It hissed again, louder this time. Its other hand slammed against the window,
Oh.
and it licked its lips with its tongue.
Open.
That's when a third hand slammed itself into the window. A
Oh!
left hand, and it was just as pale and as skeletal as the other two. I lost my shit. "Holy shit! Call the cops!" I screamed,
Oh.
and ran back into the office,
What
which
the-
was the only room with a locking door and no windows.
Yeah.
I heard Connie scream, "What the fuck?" And she dropped her mop
Oh,
and flew
finally, do
across the
something.
room and made for
Run,
the back
woman.
with me. All the yelling attracted Harold, and I shoved past him into the office and told him to look at the
Oh, he's
security
doing
camera.
nothing.
Sure enough, the white-faced creeper looked to have 3 hands on the window
The
and was
flip.
tilting its head back and forth, perhaps trying to discover where I ran off to. We locked the office
Oh,
door
he's
and
tilting
called
his
the
head back and
cops,
forward because he's
explaining
freaking
to the
weird.
operator that there was at least 2 prowlers outside acting in a threatening manner towards us. I kind of expected it to be over after I called the cops. If it was a prank, they would run once they realized they scared me enough to call 911. But it didn't end there. We watched as the figure left the drive-thru window, circled the building, and made for the restaurant door.
Oh.
This video was
What
created
the
by
hell is
Black
this?
Desert Adventurer. Chapter 1,
You-
The Black Death.
You
About
just
the
ruined
black-
the whole bloody thing.
Is there a second one? Look for a second one.
Oh,
I panicked
no.
while still on the phone with the operator. Connie was freaking out, and Harold was muttering something about not getting the police involved, likely because he was carrying weed.
Oh,
That's when the power went out.
okay. Oh.
Everything. Cameras, lights, phone,
Oh,
The whole building went
my...
down. and barely 10 seconds after we all quieted down after shouting at each other in the dark, we heard footsteps in the dining room area. "Connie, did you lock
Oh
the doors?" I
my
whispered.
god.
She didn't reply. I think she had her hand pressed over her mouth.
Open.
We heard a voice call from outside the room in the dark.
Open!
The shout came at least 3 more times, circling from the kitchen to right off the hallway where we were hiding. I was convinced I was about to die, and every decision I had made in my life that brought me there was flashing before my eyes. We heard footsteps pass the office. After another few minutes, we heard the wail of police sirens outside.
Oh my god,
And at
thank
any
God.
moment, we expected to hear gunfire and the police shouting at someone to get on the ground, but we never did.
Oh!
We waited until the police identified themselves and opened the door and ran out into the parking lot. Since the power was down, we couldn't show the cops the security footage, so we just told them what we saw.
Yeah?
They swept the whole building and said it was clear. The owner of that particular franchise store showed up about an hour later, after Harold and Connie had left. I
Oh,
waited
yeah,
for the
now
power
it
to be
shows up.
restored, so
Yeah,
an officer could
bit too late
escort
for
me
that.
back inside to collect my belongings. The next day, my manager called me and asked me to work the night shift. I asked him if the creep from last night had been caught, when he said, "There was no creep." I told him I quit and hung up the phone.
Yeah? Hell yeah,
This
you
story
quit.
is completely true. I have no idea
I'm
what
surprised
caused the
it's
power
true, but it is
outage,
true.
which apparently erased all the security footage from the day. Without proof on video, my manager and the cops concluded that it was an elaborate prank, but that third hand still bothers me to this day, even more so than its hungry, inhuman eyes.
Ooh.
Sure, it could have been a prank, but I wish someone would just confirm that for me, so I can sleep again. Keep your windows locked at night, and if you hear someone tapping from behind the curtains, don't open them.
Oh. Well, lucky for you, my window is on the top floor, so I'm absolutely fine. Yeah, okay, I need to check that I didn't just unplug my headset, did I? Okay, good, I didn't. Well, that was very nerve-wracking, if I don't say so myself. I can imagine that just how like scary that must be, just knowing that like there's nothing like that you can do. You know what I mean? It's just you just gotta sit there and just pray that, you know, like Jesus Christ, we'll just go out there and bang up the guy. You know what I mean? But oh, here we go. We've got a It seemed. Oh no, no. This is not a gay relationship. I at the start I thought it was. I killed the guy who bullied me. Oh, that's it's I mean, yeah, if you get him back and beat him up, then sure, that's good. But killing, I think, is. I mean, I used to get bullied, but I didn't kill them. Fucking hell, that is never kill anyone, mate.
I've never had the best of luck with guys. I appear to have poor taste when it comes to dating. After separating for good from my kid's father after 5 years, I was ready to just be myself.
You a woman or a man, or are you trans? Because I'm hearing a man, but I'm seeing a woman's face. Am I the only one seeing it? Sorry, I keep looking at my phone because obviously the chat's on my phone. Okay, so
3 months of being a single mother, my neighbor approached me stating that a friend of his, Steve, would like to meet me. It didn't take long before he charmed his way into my life.
Yeah, that's
the first 6 months were amazing, but he began to drink more and more, and each time he would get extremely agitated. He would start fights with random people, and even some of our friends. Slowly, our friends would stop coming around, knowing how Steve got when he drank. This, however, did not stop him from drinking. But now all the anger was aimed at me. It took roughly 6 to 8 months of buildup, from name-calling and shoving to punching and choking. Suddenly, this became a very abusive relationship. One time, I escaped out of the bathroom window. He later found me by beating up a friend of mine until he told him where I was. Steve began stripping all of my clothes off in a drunken rage, while laughing at me and challenging me to go ahead and try to escape while I was naked. The last night of abuse was by far the worst. Before Steve started drinking that night, I told him that my son, 3 years old, was not feeling very well, and I was going to stay with him as he fell asleep. My plan was to spend the night with my son. At around 2:30 in the
Yeah,
morning,
he came in.
I heard the bedroom door open.
Oh no, he's gonna beat up the son.
I lied there pretending to be asleep. Several seconds went by.
Oh no.
I held my breath as tears began to form in my eyes. When I suddenly felt his hand on top of my head, he grabbed my hair and yanked me out of bed, whispering in my ear, "I know you're avoiding me." Once in the living room, he threw me on the floor, then accused me of trying to leave him and demanded to know why.
Get your
Before I could
fucking hands
answer,
off her.
he angrily came to the conclusion that it was another man.
I swear to God, if I catch you with another man, I'll kill you and him.
He was obviously more drunk than normal.
I was gonna
He
say.
punched and
Oh!
kicked me a couple of times, and I fell to the floor. I started to crawl to my son's room, and he slowly came from behind me, asking,
Where do you think you're going?
He then walked in front of me, kneeled down, and said,
You stay right there or I'm gonna hurt you real bad.
He then sat on the couch and watched me as I sobbed on the floor. After about 30 minutes, it appeared that he passed out on the couch. I decided that this was
I
my
hope he
chance to
died.
escape. I put on an oversized shirt, picked up my son, and slowly crept by him. He suddenly woke up and grabbed my leg and said,
Where are you going?
I stammered out that I was going into the kitchen with my son to get him a drink. He then angrily replied,
Hurry up.
As soon as I entered the kitchen, I ran out of the front door with no pants on, no shoes, and no purse. I carried my son all the way to the police station, which was thankfully only a few blocks away. After hours, the way the police station is set up is that you go into a room and press a button and talk to someone on the intercom. I
That
ran
is
in
not-
and put my back to the wall and pushed the button behind me.
That is not how it works. Alright, unless it's got something to do with Corona, I don't see how that is how it works. Alright, you know, you just go in. You know, just go in. Your life is in danger. Just you know. But anyway,
As I
this
slowly
police are just
slid down
weird.
into a sitting position
Oh.
while holding on to my son, waiting for Steve to burst through the door at any second. I remembered thinking if I was going to be beaten, at least it would be on camera. On the speaker I heard,
Let me guess.
"How can I help you?"
The camera's gonna be
All I could
turned
do
off.
was cry. I couldn't even get a word out of my mouth. I didn't know how to explain. 2 officers came out to assist me. A female officer took my son
Oh.
and got him some food, and I went with the male officer to make a report, and he gave me a blanket. After 15 minutes, I heard Steve screaming my name as they brought him down the hallway. I held my breath as if he knew I was behind the door. 30 minutes later, an officer came back with a sergeant.
Oh my goodness
At
me.
first, I thought they were going to tell me to go back home and gather my
Right.
belongings while Steve was being held in custody. Instead, they asked me more questions about his anger issues and if there had been any previous fights.
Good.
I explained to them Steve's alcohol problem and how he had become increasingly more abusive. They then showed me a list in Steve's handwriting detailing how he would dismember my body in a good spot where I would be buried without being found. He also had possible dates written down, with past dates crossed out. I couldn't breathe when I read this,
Oh
and by this
my
point tears were streaming down my face. I looked at the cop and asked, "What does this mean?" He looked back at me and said, "It means you're lucky." Steve was charged with attempted murder, kidnapping, and assault. I left back home to Arizona before the trial started, but gave a detailed
Nuts.
statement before I left. Steve, of course, pled not guilty, but in the end, he received 2 years in prison.
2 years.
Just before I
2 years. Is that it? I would have said 10 years, man.
left for
minimum.
Arizona, I received a letter from Steve. It simply read,
This is not over.
It's not over.
Mm.
You'll always be mine.
Well, so remember yours belong when you kill her. You're not very smart, are you, Steve? Just saying. Don't come and kill me. I'm just saying. Okay, so that was the girl's voice from the woods. Yeah, maybe we should do that one. I'm liking Rants Entertainment. You know what, Rants Entertainments? you're much bigger than I am, but you know what? Everyone that's watching right now, go and give him a sub. Just go and subscribe to him. You know, just kick off my video right now. Go and give him a sub because his videos are and he puts a lot of work in it, you can tell. And it's an upcoming, you know, YouTuber, and you know, need to support these very, you know, talented channels. The girl's voice from the woods.
I lived in the countryside until I was
Aw,
16.
Granny.
My neighborhood was a small town. I lived with my uncle and grandmother. This is a horror story I experienced at that time. Almost 10 years later, the memory hasn't
Why are you
faded.
shaking?
When I was about 15 years old,
Why is the microphone
my
shaking?
grandmother held my hand one day and said, "If some girl begs you to help her at night, do not help her. You have to ignore it and run away." It was a very famous rumor in this town.
Ooh.
I thought it was just a story made up by somebody like any other ghost story, so I didn't really care about it back then. Actually, everyone in the neighborhood knew this story. If you hear a girl's voice at night, you must run, or you'll die. It was an obvious story. Then one night, I was out playing outside with my friends, and it suddenly got dark. Man, Grandma's gonna be pissed. I started walking home in a hurry, but the way home wasn't close. It soon became dark outside, and I was walking alone on an empty road. I began to get a little scared, so I purposely hurried up, humming to myself to calm down. Then, I heard a girl's voice in the forest next to the road.
Help me.
I felt a chill run down my spine. As soon as I thought I heard it
Oh
wrong,
my gosh.
I heard the voice once again.
It hurts.
Although it was a really small
It
voice,
hurts.
I could tell for sure it was the voice of a girl.
It's
I looked where the voice
probably
came from,
a
but all I
man.
could see was the dark forest. But then I saw something behind a tree. Its appearance in the dark began to become clearer. There was a little girl
No.
lying behind the tree.
No. There is not a little girl hiding behind the tree. If you can see the shadow here, that is another person sitting behind the tree. And if I'm not mistaken, she looks pretty dead. I'm sorry, but she looks pretty dead. And if I was to see that girl who looks very much like a doll, I would freaking run. Especially if I see a shadow behind it, who's probably the person who's holding the girl up. And when she comes close, he'll drag the body in. He'll come out looking like a 50-year-old, probably clown or something. And he's going to kill him.
Tree.
Well,
I
not
was
kill him, he'll
extremely
get away,
taken
obviously,
aback.
but, you know,
Thinking that she
obviously
might have been
from the
hurt,
story.
I tried to approach her. However, I immediately recalled what my grandmother had told me.
That kind of just scared me a bit.
With a
not gonna lie.
feeling of wariness, I stayed on the spot and stared at her. Then, the girl moved slightly and said once again,
Is anybody there?
Her mouth.
I couldn't see her clearly in the
not
dark, but
moving.
something was unnatural. It didn't feel right. I moved slowly to escape from the spot. I heard her voice again and again, but I didn't get any closer. As I kept walking to the side, I could see the back of the tree. She wasn't lying down. Someone was hiding behind the tree, holding her up and supporting her body. Her body was lulled. I couldn't tell whether she was dead or alive. Then,
Or
my
not
heart
real.
dropped. I made eye contact with the man who was hiding behind the tree. He suddenly jumped out of
Oh!
the forest and started running towards me like crazy.
Help this poor girl.
It was the same girl's voice that I had just heard before. Screaming, I
man's
started to
fighting
run
it.
away. Ah! This time I heard the man in a deep voice. Crap, he didn't fall for it. I felt the fear of death and my whole life flashed before my eyes. Just then, I saw a flashlight in front of me and realized what it was shortly afterward. My uncle came looking for me on his bike. My God, I'm alive. Thinking this, I burst out crying. I ran to my uncle, and when I looked back, the man was gone. I told my uncle and grandmother everything I saw, and we soon called the police. Police began searching for him, believing that he was involved in several disappearances in the town, but they failed to find him. I still can't forget the voice I heard that night. I probably
So one of the missing people was a
wouldn't
girl.
be here right now if I wasn't so lucky. Always be careful of the stranger's voice.
Ooh. Jeez. That is, I'm watching it in the dark as well. It may look like it's light, but it's not. This is the only source of light in this room from stopping it being pitch black, you know. And it's not even on its highest setting, you know. Wow. Whew. Well, I think I'm gonna end it there. Not making much progress from here, really. You know what? I'm gonna end it here, and in the next video, I'll probably just, I don't know what I'll do next video. You guys let me know. As always, I want you guys to let me know what you guys want to do, what you guys think I should do. And yeah, it's been very good, guys. Thank you for watching. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next spooky live stream. See you in a bit. Good night. Or whatever you're doing. Probably good night.